I'm very much delighted to welcome all of you to the research launch today as well. We are in another special research talk with our experts. Today, we are going to discuss what is latex. Actually, since I too have not much knowledge in this regard, it's a challenge for me as well. However, when you browse the library website, you may have noticed the latex template for the dissertation, haven't you? Some of you may have already been aware of this, and some others may have questions in this sphere. You may wonder, what is it? Can we use this template for our dissertation? So on and so forth, isn't it? Therefore, it seems timely and important to have a look at what is LaTeX. LaTeX was word processor software. What's Overleaf? How to create a simple LaTeX document. A quick look at LaTeX template. These things. I would like to invite you all to derive the optimal benefits from today's research plan. So, I'm pleased to tell you that best person who is talk about it to you is in our research launch today. He is Dr. Nisansa De Silva. Dr. Nisansa De Silva is a senior lecturer at the Department of Computer Science and Engineering, University of Moratuwa. He obtained his PhD in 2020 and master's degree in 2016 in Computer and Information Science from University of Oregon, USA, and BSc Honors in Computer Science and Engineering degree in 2011 from University of Moratuwa. He joined the University of Moratuwa as a lecturer in 2011. From 2013 to 2014, he worked as a researcher at Uniasia. In 2018, he worked as a Givens Associate at Oregon National Laboratory, USA. So, engineer Dr. De Silva has over 50 peer-reviewed publications in the field of computer science, mostly under the subfields of natural language processing and artificial intelligence, earning more than 650 citations. He is also an associate member of the ISL. So, next, let me introduce the second resource person to you. He is Akila Piris. Akila Piris is a software engineer and machine learning engineer working at CML Insight on causal machine learning. He is well versed in Java backend development at IFN Research and Development after his graduation from the University of Sri Jayawardhanapura, majoring in computer science. His current research interests are natural language processing and natural language generation. So, I respectfully invite both of you to share your valuable thought with our students for their benefits.
Welcome all to Introduction to LaTeX. So how many of you have used LaTeX? Before we start, if you can do a hands up emoji, that would be useful. Seems we have a lot of noises, which is good. When there are noises, we can start from the beginning, right? Isn't it, Mr. Akila?
Yes.
All right. Okay, so first we have to ask ourselves, what is LaTeX? So you would say latex is the thing that the superheroes would wear. To make a distinction between that and the academic source, the pronunciation of this is a little bit different, so that you can pronounce it as latex or latex, depending on what you want to say. Mostly British or American pronunciation. Right. So, in essentiality, it's a document preparing system where you can enter what you want to see in the document and get it rendered or get it created on the other side. one person has sent a message saying they tried, but it was a gray area. So that is good. That is good that you try to venture into this, and we'll see whether we can bring you up to a level where you are confident in using this after listening to this lecture. All right. So the next point is that it is very similar to what you would do with HTML or XML. So all of you, most of you might have made a small HTML website and so on and so forth. So if that is the case, you will find that this is very intuitive or easy to handle. The last part of introduction is that LaTeX is mostly used for technical or scientific documents instead of flyers and posters and so on and so forth. But you can still use it for flyers and posters, as again, Mr. Akila can attest to, where he recently made a poster out of it.
Yes, working with larger documents, I would say is easier with LaTeX. If you have a lot of figures, tables, this is definitely better than using the, uh, let's say, the Office package to name something. So
Mhm.
this would be a much better alternative for that.
Of course. So now, again on the question of LaTeX, this is a comic that I have found, and basically what it says is, regardless of what you are going to make, it is going to look great. So that is basically the objective of LaTeX. It would make sure that the document that you make is going to look very professional. And also you get the benefit of changing what the format is. So let's say, for example, you are going to submit one of your papers into IEEE. For some sad reason, let's say it gets rejected from this IEEE conference. Now you want to go ahead and submit this paper to an ACL conference or a ACM conference. Now what happens? Now the entire format of the document is different. So if you are using something like Word, then you'd have to redo the entire document from the beginning. But if you are using something like LaTeX, you would only have to change some lines on the header and the footer, and it would adapt it to the new format. So as much as a time saver, LaTeX is a lifesaver. Right. Now, to build on what Mr. Akila mentioned earlier, why use LaTeX instead of a word processor? As I was mentioning earlier, it gives you the highest typeset quality. And it was decided by academics. So it easily accommodates academic usage. So papers, reports, theses, dissertations, it was made for these purposes. Therefore, it shines there rather than a generic word editing software. Then there are predefined layouts. For example, let's say IEEE or ACM or ACL or University of Moratuwa have predefined documents which you can take and edit and add your information into without ever having to worry about the formatting. So you might have seen various documents saying, okay, the heading has to be this typeface, this size, 12 pt or something, and so on and so forth, right? So that sort of worrying is not there if you are using LaTeX, because LaTeX will do it automatically by itself. It is easy to enter mathematical symbols because you just type them. You do not have to worry about placement and so on and so forth. Footnotes, references, if you add the footnote and for some reason you add more text there and it jumps to the next page, whatever the convention you are using, it will automatically get handled. Bibliography. So I have one survey paper which has 500 papers being cited within that paper, but it's seamless to work there. If you have used Word or some other word processing software and tried to handle references, you would know the problems that you have to face. And also, the source files are not bound to a given platform. Portable, flexible, and cheap.
Dr. Nizar sir, I think
Yes.
at this juncture, we should explain how writing additional code compared to typical word processing software, you have to write additional code in LaTeX as well, right? So how would it translate to being more efficient, or like how would it save time in the long
Right.
run?
So the way that it saves time in the long run. So when we start the demo, you will see what you are going to add is a simple opener, like begin, let's say begin abstract and in abstract. So the only thing that you are adding other than free text is those two small lines. But when you add that, as I mentioned earlier, all the other formatting, the font size, the margins, the placement, all of those are would happen automatically uh, with the predefined LaTeX format. So that is how you save time. So let's say, especially the most famous example is if you put something on a Word document, you type all the information that you want to type, and then you want to move one of your images. So that is for people who have. I'm going to ask that question later on as well. Well, actually, let's ask it now. How many of you have created a document, added a table or an image, and then had to move it on Word and realized that your whole document is ruined now? So you can put some hands up if you have. Yes. uh, so those sort of problems do not occur in LaTeX because the pagination or placement, after you define where it has to be, you can say this is going to go on top of a page, and then you can forget it. You can just go continue typing, and it would always make sure that the instruction that you gave would be adhered. Right. Now, the next question is, okay, that sounds like a good sales pitch and all, but where can I do this? Right? So there are several ways. So the oldest way, LaTeX has been around for several decades now. And the old way to do that was to create these text files and zip files by yourself on one of your folders and then write a command line. And that doesn't sound attractive at all. So recently, people have decided, okay, no. Let's hide that all the backend from other people and make it more user friendly. So in order to make user friendly, they have created things like Text Studio. So Text Studio is a application that is free, which you can download, uh, which would take care of the backend for you. And the other solution, the thing that we are going to talk about most today, is the online solution, which is Overleaf, where you can have a free account. And again, you just type stuff, and the background compilations and handlings and imports are all handled by the system. You don't have to worry about it at all. So in comparison, let's say Text Studio is cross-platform. You can install it in Windows, Mac, Linux, doesn't matter. Open source, standalone. It is good for large projects. So if you have like a massive project with hundreds of images and so on and so forth, maybe the free version of Overleaf might not be able to handle it. So if you have something huge, maybe it is time to either take Lex Studio, which is free, or maybe move to a paid version of Overleaf. But if you are handling something like a paper, then I would definitely recommend always to go with Overleaf. It is web-based, it is lightweight. I have several of these tabs open at all time on my Chrome, and it doesn't slow or make trouble to me at all, other more than any other tab. And I have also put the links here. Hopefully, library will provide you with these slides as PDF. Then once you have it on with your hands, you can click on it and go to these sites.
Dr. Nizansa, you explained one of the advantages of using a locally installed application such as Text Studio.
Yes.
What would be a downside of using such an application compared to a cloud version?
So to give the regular answer for anything that is on cloud and which is not on cloud, what would happen if your computer, hopefully not, but what would happen if you lose your computer? If your hard disk fails or something like that happens. So
the thing that usually happens right
the
around
thing
Vivas.
right around Vivas, right around deadlines, Murphy's law is eternal.
Yes.
So, so in that case, also, what if, again, let's say you are typing something and then you realize, oh, no, why did I delete it? I want it back. And a cloud solution gives you the history as well. So that is the difference between you typing something on your own Word file and versus typing something on Google Docs. You can approximate this usage by having your file on somewhere like a Google Drive folder or a Dropbox folder, but not as well-oiled as something like using something like Overleaf. So moving on, let's look at how we are going to use this. Now, the fundamental idea of LaTeX is that you give it commands to describe what you want to see. So as I mentioned earlier, you just say, I want this text as a title. You just say it. And the formatting of how it happens is handled by LaTeX. You don't have to say how it looks because it has already been defined. Let's say by IEEE, by ACM, ACL, or University of Monitor, if you are going to use the official LaTeX source. You just have to focus on your content. You can just freestyle type what you want, not worrying about where they go, and let LaTeX do its job. So as I mentioned several times before, there are official LaTeX templates from IEEE, ACL, ACM, Springer. So Springer usually goes as LNCS, and then UOM thesis. So again, all of these are links which you can click. Once you get your hands on the PDF, you should be able to click on these and look at them as a prime.
Yeah. So usually, like when we use a word processing software, an image like such as the one that's currently over in the screenshot is we can basically drag it and drop it wherever we want, right?
Yes.
But here we have to specify on how it is placed. So is this really as helpful as you make it out to be?
Right. So let's say you drag and drop an image, and then if it is, let's say you are making a flyer or something, then dragging and dropping an image would be the end of that story. But if you are making an academic document, then you have to do various other stuff. You need to give it a caption, you need to place it in such a way, then you have to refer it in your body. So all of these are rather hard if you are just using a word processor where you drag and drop and to refer back and forth in the actual text. But in LaTeX, as we demonstrate later in our demo, all of those are simple commands that you can give the system. And also, let's think about you deciding to add another image on top of it before that. Then what happens? Then you have to, if you are using something like Word, then either if you are a word whiz, there are things that you can do. You can, if you can have these little pointers set up from various items to other ones, and then do a refresh references sort of a thing. But sometimes they break, and sometimes they just end up in question marks and so on and so forth. But in LaTeX, all you need to do to change figure 1 to figure 2 is to add figure 1 on top of figure 2. The currently existing figure 1, and it will automatically do all the updates within seconds. All right. So now that is the primer. That is the introduction of what it is and so on and so forth. So there is no point in me talking a whole lot. And also, even with the interjections that Mr. Akila has, what is more important is for you to see what it is, right? So we'll move on to what Overleaf is very soon. So when you get into Overleaf, this is what you would see: LaTeX keyboard and so on and so forth. And this is just the landing page. And once you are in the landing page, what you can do is you can just create an account and for free, and then browse these templates that I mentioned earlier for papers, presentation, newsletters, books, so on and so forth. Another very important point is that it is a collaboration platform. Now, again, you would say, okay, I can do it on Google Drive. I can do it on OneDrive, where Office documents are shared and so on and so forth. But you are just postponing the problems that you have to later, right? On, let's say, Google Docs, it is very rarely that it would adhere to, let's say, an IEEE format. And let's say if you are trying on the Word document where it is shared on something like SkyDrive or OneDrive, whatever the one currently being used. I think university also have access to that. You might have, if you have tried to use it, you would have seen a whole lot of problems such as version conflicts and creations when you are trying to do collaborative work. So we know how people work, right? People work at the last moment. So if you have a paper deadline, and let's say if I am writing a paper with Mr. Akila, we would be editing it for even the last 5 minutes. We are like refreshing the conference page to see whether the deadline has closed, or I am adding stuff, he's adding stuff, I am editing his stuff, and so on and so forth. So this type of just-in-time paper writing is very easy if you can do it on Overleaf. And the next part is that it outputs nice PDF files. Now, on this, sometimes you might say, okay, no, any system can output nice PDF files, but sometimes the PDF files that you generate from other systems only look good from the if you are only looking in a surface look. How they are arranged in the back is often messy. But the good thing about LaTeX is that even the back end of the PDF files, the things that you do not see inside the PDF file, are organized and very clean. So this is important, especially if you have very recently submitted to a IEEE conference. Now they have this new part where you have to upload before uploading your paper to the conference proper, there is a little link where you upload it and check whether it is in correct format. So if you write the paper in LaTeX, you are never going to fail that. So similarly, if you are if you have a ACL paper, Mr. Akila had experienced very recently, where you run a script to see whether it is in the correct format. Again, with LaTeX, uh, you can be guaranteed that what you do is going to adhere to all the specifications given by the system. So similarly, even though University of Morocco doesn't have an automated system to look at it, it is done diligently by the library staff. But still, if you use a LaTeX document, your life and their life would be easier because they don't have to worry about writing back to you asking you to fix your formatting. Right. Now we are moving on to features. And we talked about collaborative commenting and tracking changes, which is I'm not going to dwell too much on this particular slide because you have experience on this. You have done things similar to this on Google documents and so on and so forth. The next slide, you might wonder that it is the image that I have put is a little blurred, but that is by design. You can share the document with other individuals to collaborate on it. So you can give access rights. This is again similar to how you would work on Google Drive. So I'm trying to start with things that are familiar to you and slowly take you into new stuff, which is the third way of sharing. Now, if you, as Dr. Annie mentioned earlier, even there is a link to the UOM template. So this is how it is done, where you can generate some links where it can be accessed by anybody with the link. Again, this is a little blurred by design, which should be something that we do later on as well, because we do not want everyone to have access to it immediately, at least until the session is over. Now, adding other documents is adding other files is streamlined within Overleaf as well. Very quickly, something else that I would like to mention is that there are integrations. So I mentioned earlier, you can have Dropbox and so on and so forth to make sure that your document versions are seamless. So Dropbox, GitHub, and you might have had earlier talks talking about research where they are using Mendeley and Zoreto. So these can be plugged in to Overleaf, and also you can create the Google login. If you have a research profile on ORCID, you can plug them in as well.
Dr. Nissan sir, are all of
Yes.
these plugins or integrations, are they for free, or do some of them are they paid subscriptions?
Very good question. The answer to that is yes and no. Now, so Google integration, ORCID integration, and Mendeley Zoreto usually is given with the free package as well. Dropbox and GitHub, you can get by paid as well, but there is a way to get those for free as well. So right now, I am not a paid subscriber to Overleaf, but I have, this is a screenshot of things that I have enabled in my system. The way that I have gotten it by basically getting other people, like obviously my students, to use Overleaf. So they see that we are using Overleaf, and it's like how Gmail started their spread, where you get an Gmail address initially when you did not have the ability to just go and create Gmail addresses. You go and give it to other people. It sounds like a pyramid scheme. It's sort of a pyramid scheme, but still, it gives you the benefits for free if you like. But yes, it is possible to pay them. If I remember correctly, monthly for a student is around $8 or $6. I do not remember exactly. However, if you have a institutional email address, it is subsidized massively, just like any academic thing. Now, how to create a new document is you just click on new project and click on blank project, or you can go to a template, as I mentioned earlier. Right. Now, before moving on to the demo, which should take majority of our remaining lecture, let's get you to remember the basic parts of this Overleaf window, so that we do not have to go through them again when we are on the actual editing window. So first of all, we have file updates, files and uploads that we can put to the project. Then we have, this is new, this is rather new. When I say new, it is about a few months old, where you can get the navigate menu of the topics that you have in your document. Then we have the editor window. So if you are familiar with programming, this would look very similar to what you would see in a programming language or in an IDE. But even if not, this being editor and this being the preview is a simple thing to grasp, I guess.
Dr. Nisa sir, are there like different is this view customizable? You know, for example, like can I have the preview window and the editor, like this is now split vertically, right? Can I have
Right.
it split horizontally, for example?
Okay, right now, splitting horizontally is not available. However, splitting it between screens is available, which became available very recently. Because before that, what I used to do is I open the same link in two browser tabs and put them on two screens, and make the rendered one larger in one screen and the editor larger in the other screen and edit. But no longer do we have to do that. You can click on the layout. We can demonstrate it later as well, and open it in separate windows and so on and so forth. And also, as you can see, these small arrow buttons are used to move these components to be larger and smaller. We should talk about these arrow buttons as well and the utility of it once we have the demo up and running. All right. Quickly going through other stuff that you would see we use seamlessly are the uploads, which goes here, and renames, which would give you windows very intuitively. And finally, the project settings, which would tell you how to get it out as a source file or a PDF. All right. So I was anticipating eagerly to move on to the demo, and now it is time to start that. Now, before we move on to the demo, now that the theory part is behind us, before we move on to the demo, is there any questions from the audience? I mean, Mr. Akila can ask questions if he has questions as well, but he has been working collaboratively. But if the audience have other questions, we'll give some time before we start the demo. Like the previous person, you can anonymously send me in the chat as well, if you are worried about asking it in public. No? All right, so at any time you can send a message, ask if you have questions. Okay. So what I'm showing here is the basic structure of a document. First of all, oh, right, there's a question. Is only free for any account, or do we need a paid account to register? No, it is free to make an account. You can just go there and create an account. The paid part is only for those advanced integrations, which is not needed. As I said, I am not a paid member. I have been using Overleaf since like more than half a decade, I think, because it existed with Latex and so on and so forth as well. So for that entire career, there have been only two instances that I needed to pay because the document was too large. One time was when I was writing my dissertation at the end of my PhD. And the other time was when I was writing a certain ACL paper with Dr. Rangika in our department, which was about which is a very complex paper with which took a lot of time to render. So on those two occasions, I have been a paid member for few months, but other than that, no. I have always been a free member, and I have written 60 or so papers on it, and haven't had any problem. All right. Would you please add the images and tables? Of course, yes, we are going to show it. Yes. So one question is, can you show us how to add the images and tables? Yes, we are going to show that. Don't worry. All right. Now, let's look at let's start a demo. Let me start it with, is there any section help button to get help while editing the document? Yes, the Overleaf itself, if you go to their Overleaf proper, there is a whole lot of tutorials and guides given to you, which you can follow. At the end of the session, could you please share the slide? I really want to share the slides. So what I would do is I would send a PDF version of the slides to the library, and they would make it available. I want you to, because as I mentioned, the links and so on and so forth are there. So it would be very useful for you to use them. And also, just like any lecture that I do, they will be available on my website as well if you want to get in there. So either way, you will have access to my slides. All right. So,
Dr. Nissan sir, one thing to add regarding the previous answer that you gave
yeah,
about the help. So even if you do not find what you are looking for within the help guide, you can
internet.
just Google, because there's a separate Stack Overflow thing
Of
for
course.
LaTeX.
Yeah.
Like people ask questions, people reply to them. That there are guides. I think even things like Geek for Geek and I can't remember another specific source, but there are like sources like that provide tutorials and sample codes, etc. So this is like this is much easier to get help from the internet than using a typical word processing software or a slide
Yes.
yeah.
Slightly, yeah. So there, people are asking very specific, very tiny, neat questions, and there would be very helpful people saying, just copy paste this and it would work, and it works. So yes, there is a very active community there. So what I have on the screen right now is my Overleaf Overleaf dash. As you can see, there are many projects that I am writing on Overleaf, and let's start a new project, right? So I am going to start a blank project over here. So I will call this introduction to tech. Okay, now see that it's created. As you can see, it comes with some setup already. Now, what I am going to do is I am going to now one big point that we wanted to make here is that the collaborative nature of this, right? So one whole reason that Mr. Akhil and I am at two different places is to show you that you can do this from home. Like you can, if you are having a group project, you can stay home and one person can be at the university, one person can be across the country, a different country. Because when I was finishing up my PhD, sometimes I was in United States, or sometimes I was in Sri Lanka, and my supervisor was sometimes in China, and still we would be working on it collaboratively around the clock. Okay, so what I'm now going to do is I'm going to give access, collaborative access to Mr. Akhil. So I'm going to add him as a collaborator over here and share it to him. All right. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop sharing and getting Mr. Akhil to share his screen so that you can see how he accepts my invitation.
Get a email like this once I have been invited to an Overleaf project. So, and in this browser, I have already logged into Overleaf just to make things easier. So what I can do is just click project, and it's asking me to join the project. You can, I think, maybe change the email as well, depending on the account that you have, but you need to have proper access to the project, like how Dr. Nisansa just sent me. So here you can see I have access to the same project that he has.
And you should be able to see my, just like in Google Docs,
Yes,
my tag
yes.
going.
So yeah, so here it would indicate Dr. Nisansa's presence. So you can see the N, the initial, and here you can see his cursor, and like if you go on top of it, right, you can see that it is moving, and you can see the flag as well. So and if you have let's say you also have another instance open, I believe it should that, yes. So it would show my other instance as a separate entity. So here is my cursor from this window, which I will place over here, as you can see, right? This indicates the number of people and whom are working on this project currently. Back to you, Dr. Nisansa.
All right. Let me get this sharing again. There you are. Hope you can see my screen again. Yes.
Yes.
All right. So, so with that primer, let's move on to the depths of the demo. Let's start doing stuff, right? So the first thing that you have to notice are the preamble, right? This would tell you what the type of the article is, and the type of fonts and so on and so forth that you are using, and the global font size. So if you are doing a thesis and so on and so forth, you would say the document font size, the regular text should be certain PT, certain size, and you can globally set this here. And these are for, as somebody asked earlier, how to add images and so on and so forth. So that is what the objective of this is. So basically, in the beginning, what you have is the preamble to set it up. There you can give various types. So you can have declare the paper type, font sizes, whether it is a 2-column or a landscape. So we'll play around with 2 columns later on as well. And whether it is a research article, a report, or a book, you just need to declare it and it happens. And the next part is the things that you would import. Let's say if you want something like adding geometrical shapes, adding using the geometry package to change the margins and so on and so forth, or adding images, adding hyperlinks. And then in the beginning, there is begin. And one thing that you have to remember is that LaTeX would try to compile it even if you have little errors, but it is good practice to, if you open something, to close that. That is totally fine. Even if you don't do that, LaTeX will try to compile up to that point and then say, hey, you are missing something. So Stakila, we'll generate some errors and show them some errors as well, right?
Yeah.
Then you declare the title, the authors, and the dates, and say where the title is. And this comes into play if you see if your file is too large, then you can decide, okay, no, maybe I will have it imported from elsewhere to have smaller files. So
Dr. Nisasa, since you
yes,
mentioned adding authors,
yes,
just a quick note on off the top of my head, like sometimes, not sometimes, all the time, when we submit a paper for review, it is on most occasions it is for we submit it anonymously, right? But if you use let's say Word, you will have to omit the names of the authors in the file itself, like basically remove it. You cannot commit it out, and submit the version. And later on, when you submit the camera ready version, you have to add it again. But with Overleaf or LaTeX in general, something that happens is that there are conditions that you can apply to the document class, where it says anonymous or camera ready version. Depending on that, it will decide whether to display the authors and their email addresses, or just to say anonymous authors.
and other things as well, because sometimes when you are sending a paper to review, you need to make the line numbers visible so that the reviewers can say, okay, on line 5 there was a mistake, and so on and so forth. But in your final version, those are not there. So if you are using something like Word, that is going to be very hard. But here it is only a matter of saying, okay, this is the camera ready version, no, this is the review version. So just adding that function, just adding that word there is what is needed.
Yes.
All right.
Dr. Nizasa, I think I have some additional chats as well.
All righty. What would you recommend as a best practice? This is to prepare the paper first using word processing document and use LaTeX for formatting only from the beginning. I prefer, okay, so I honestly, when I am writing, I write on Overleaf itself. So as even I think the library has mentioned earlier to you as well in other lectures that they have a Grammarly extension. Very good, Grammarly, brilliant. If you have it plugged in, you don't have to worry about, because one reason people worry about writing elsewhere and copying pasting is because they are worried about spelling and grammar and so on and so forth, right? So that problem is not there if you just put a Grammarly extension and work on Overleaf. So I personally like to type it there, type in Overleaf itself, because I find it very convenient, and you do not have to change forms, and you do not have to remember where the citations were if you are using Overleaf.
Yes,
But
one of yeah, just a quick thing. So
yes,
one of the things that are mostly troublesome to deal with when you are working with Word is that you have to manage the citations manually. So
yes.
if you start working on this uh, in on itself, it will automatically handle those. Otherwise, you will have to change them, even if you later revert it to LaTeX format from your word processing software. So it is always easier to have the code written in LaTeX, because it will handle the more troublesome parts automatically.
Yes. So there is a very roundabout way if you want to do that. So basically what you would, I do not recommend the following at all. I am just telling you that it exists, okay? The other way is that if you want to write on Word, you write on Word, you get the extension to attach Mendeley to it, and then attach Mendeley to LaTeX as well. And through Mendeley, you can bring stuff to LaTeX. It's a very cumbersome thing. Don't do it, but it is possible. So as a computer science lecturer, if somebody asks, can this be done? It is in my blood to say, okay, it can be done this way, but don't do it. It is a big mess. It is a plaster solution, as we say. The second question that I was asked is, yes, it is possible with Zotero as well. If the integration is there. Before that, there is a question, are there any other web-based solutions? There are, if you look at, if you search for online LaTeX compilers, there are a lot of them where you can type it and get the rendering, because it's a very simple software that is running behind. There used to be two major companies, Overleaf and LaTeX, but you know how capitalism works. Overleaf basically merged. They bought over LaTeX, and now they are a single company. So that is what happened. So those two were the major players. But other than that, there are like hundreds and hundreds of places where you can just put LaTeX on the left side and get the PDF on the right side. But none of them are as advanced as Overleaf. I have to say that. But you do not have to be dependent on Overleaf, because if you, for some reason, you don't like the company. Okay, so let's add the first thing that we want to add, right? So what we are going to do is, I am going to keep screen sharing, and Mr. Akila is going to type it in, because we want to show how the collaborative thing works. So Mr. Akila, if you can add the abstract to the document while
Sure.
mention what we are doing here. Right. So now Mr. Akile is going to add the abstract to this document, and you will see that he would be just typing it in within this document with a opening and a closing. Right. So now he's adding a begin and an end to the abstract, and he's going to type some stuff in. Oh, he just he put the same
Yeah, I
text
just copy pasted the
yeah.
CC.
That is totally fine. Yeah, we'll get to that the lorem ipsum as well, because then the students would see how the formatting is done. So now, as you can see, one thing that I have done is I have put the delayed rendering, but we can put autocompile on as well for anything that is happening right now to appear. So as you can see, no one had to type in this formatting. No one had to say that, okay, abstract is in bold and it is in the center, right? All of those happened automatically. The only thing Mr. Akila typed is this, and this margin, as you can see, is different from this margin. He did not have to say that, right? He only did this, and those things were automatically handled. And even here, right, when I earlier typed this introduction to LaTeX, this formatting happened automatically. And there are conventions as to when you have multiple authors, what is the distance between the two authors, and so on and so forth. So all I had to do is to say, okay, these are two names, and it was handled. So we'll move on to see to other parts where in various documents, in a lot of documents, especially in thesis books and so on and so forth as well, you would see table of content, list of tables, list of figures. Even in Word, most of these are automatically generated. You can do that, but again, you have the problem of having to go there and update it each time you do a change. But here you can put it and forget it, basically. So now what we are going to do is we are going to put it and actually forget it. even though we do not have any document, even though we do not have any items, figures and so on and so forth, we are going to just put it and then forget. Okay, so let's put table of content is actually there. Okay. Righty. So you can see it's already the introduction which is there, which is on the first page, is automatically created. So now if you want to say, okay, now these things have to be started on a new page, you can just say new page. And so here's the table of content, and the introduction is going to start on a new page. So I'm going to type something like, this is a main table and a main page, right? All right. Now, let's look at how LaTeX handles headings. You already can see introduction is handled this way, right? So introduction, it is in table of content. So if you are like me and you have a OCD feeling that no, table of contents should start it in the new page as well. Yes, let's do that. Let's get it to a new page. You say go to a new page, and now it is in its own page. The numbers are settled. This is now 3, and they are automatically updated. Okay, now let's move on and try to put some titles and subtitles, sections, and so on and so forth. So right now, introduction is a section. So the other thing, we can put subsections, subsections, and it can go up to several levels of deepness. So now, before moving on to the appendix, Mr. Akila, let's add some sections. So I would suggest you add the related work section, and I am going to add the methodology section. Right? And while he's getting ready, I'm going to add also, let's say, experiments and results writing. So you can see, we can see him adding these things over there. Right. So let's look at subsections. Subsection, let's say part, this is the first method, and subsection, this is the second method, right? So you can see I am doing stuff, and Mr. Akila is doing stuff, and these are getting generated here. As you can, another thing that you can see is we did not care about the numbering format. We did not ask it to do, we did not say this is going to be 1, 1.2, and so on and so forth. We just type it and it is working, right? So,
Dr. Nissan sir, one more thing. I'm
yes.
going to add some lipsum into the content.
Very good. Yes.
So can you show how to add the package?
Yes,
we can demonstrate how to add packages.
Exactly. Let's do that. Let's add the lipsum package. So the lipsum package is for us to see how our document would look like when we actually add text. So obviously we have only limited time here to do this presentation. So we are not going to type like 2000 words in this document. So in that cases, when you want to do a demo, a quick something, what we are going to use is the lipsum package. So we are going to use a package and call it lipsum. So for those of you who have experience with web development and so on and so forth, you would know what lipsum is. So lipsum is a package of fake Latin where you add fake text to see how the document would turn out. So Mr. Akila is now going to add some lipsum here. So it is just calling to say add 5 paragraphs of fake text. So right now he has added 5 paragraphs of fake text. So I will continue with the rest of the thing while Mr. Akila add some fake text to flush out to make this document a more documenty, if to use a non-technical term.
Yes,
All right.
and this I would uh, typically when writing a paper, I would use this technique to sort of have the layout ready so that I
Yes.
know how many paragraphs of content I have to write, and
Yes.
it will section up the document nicely. And this is one of the reasons that makes LaTeX better than like starting the work in LaTeX itself better than moving the content from a Word document to LaTeX, because you can have the lorem ipsum content just by using like a single line of code, and you can remove it. You can add colors to it if you want to highlight what the things that you want to remove later on. So yes, this is one of the things that you can use.
Another thing that I promised to show, and I'm going to show it before I forget, is how to add sizes and stuff, right? So we can say 11 pt, and I think this is already in 11 by default. It is in 11 pt. So if we put something like 12 pt, you will see that the font size gets larger, and all of these accordingly gets larger. So usually it's going to be one thing, because you are adhering to, for example, University of Moratuwa format, where you are asked to have a certain size. So one more thing that I would show is one thing that is very easy to do here is to make this two column, right? Or if you want to have this not a single column and you want 2 columns, if you are writing a paper, all you have to do is to tell the system, give me 2 columns. 2 column. And there you are. Now it is 2 columns. Right? Okay, I'm going to remove it now, because let's stick to a report format. Okay. Now, while Mr. Akila fills in the sections, let's see what we have here. Appendices. Now, appendices usually have a different numbering system, right? So, how would you handle it in LaTeX? All you need to do is to give this particular command, and then say continue as it is. So let's try to add some appendices. Let's say we are going to add a section. This is a feedback form sample. Okay, so this should go as an appendix. So all you need to do is say this is a appendix. Let's move down a little. Yes. And file. I think I will need it as well. So as you can see, the numbering has changed. Now appendices go as A, B, C, and so on and so forth in a usual manner. And you can see now it is all automatically updated as well. Another thing that you would like to see in so we are writing this almost as if it's a report and so on and so forth. So if you need to do something like chapters, all you need to do is, instead of a section, well, on top of a section, you just give it to be a chapter. Now, sometimes you do not want the section to have a number, and let's say for some reason I did not know. Oh, the best thing is best example is let's say future work for some reason. Future work. I for some reason the conference or the journal has said no, you should not have a title number for future work. So all you need to do is put a little star there, and now it doesn't have a number. And what happens if it is not numbered? It is not going to be in content. All right. So let's move on to typesetting. So you already saw how we broke pages. Let's look at how we handle bolds, italics, and underline, which are again just a command. Oh, right. One more thing. I promised to show you what these arrows do as well, right? So let me select this, and let's say I am at the bottom of this document, and I do not know. Assume that I had hundreds of lines here, and I want to find, okay, where in the document is this text? You just click this, and you move there, right? And on the other hand, you want to see, hey, where is this? You click this, and you jump there. So that is what the little two points are. I promised to show it to you. Okay. Now, let's go ahead and add some bolds and italics. Oh, one more thing is that this is a comment. So here, let's go here and compile it, and you will see that these are merged, and this is a comment. It does not appear in the document. So if you are, when you are working collaboratively and so on and so forth, you can leave notes saying, Akila, do this and so on and so forth, or we are going to do this at a certain way and so on and so forth. Also, you just like in Google Docs, you can put comments where the other person can refer later on. So basically, when I ask my students to write a paper, I review it. This is what I do. I leave comments at places, and then they can go there and work on it. All right. As I was promising you, let's bold this. You just say it is going to be boldface, and new page is now boldly. Let's say I want to have new day as a italic. You just have to say the text is boldface, the text is italic, and you have it italic.
Also, you can use Control B and Control I for this.
That is honestly what I use. That is how I type everything that fast.
Yeah.
All right. Now, in formatting, you are asked to do single spacing, double spacing, 1/2 spacing. And what if you are typing something and you didn't know what it is? And also maybe you are typing it in and then you want to change it. So all you have to do again is to say, let's see whether I did it correctly. Oh, I think I mistyped it. All right. Mr. Akila, can you fix it while
Yeah.
just do double spacing while I explain the rest of it. And another thing, while Mr. Akila fixes the command, Another thing that you can do is the formatting, justification, centering, and so on and so forth. If you want to override something that is already in place, you can use centering or justified and so on and so forth. Before moving on to the label, let's have a look back at how this is happening. Righty. Right. While Mr. Akila fixes that, let me show you a centering part, how the centering or formatting on happens. So what you can do is you can declare an area where the document is centered or left aligned and so on and so forth. So I'm going to type centering blah blah blah. Right. Let's jump to our methodology, and it is below 2 lipsums, so it should be somewhere around here. Oh, Mr. Akila has done the
A different one.
Oh, he's using the line spread. That is totally fine. So if you want double line spread, so now it is double line. So if you want to put 1.5 or something, you can put it there. All right. Now, let's see where is my blah, blah, blah. Oh, I think when Mr. Akila did that, it became a different folder. That is all totally fine. So this is collaborative working, right? You are seeing a live live demo of how 2 people would work. So sometimes this happens. All right. Say okay. Now, without conflict, you can say what I typed in the center. So these are called environments. We'll briefly mention them later on. So if you say, okay, so as you can see, when I try to mess it up, it protests. So let's make a new one. So another thing that is very easy is when you start typing, you can say begin and then put and so on and so forth. And if you press it and press enter, it appears. Let's get rid of that block and move on. Okay. Now these labels, keep this in mind. I am just mentioning them here because they are going to be in the body, but right now we are not demonstrating. We will demonstrate them as per promise when we add tables and images. They are coming, don't worry. So once you add the tables and images, well, actually what I can do is I can show you how cross-referencing works here. So let's say you want to add the label here. You want to say, you want to refer to this place methodology in your results section. How do you do that? Let's give it a name. We say label this as method, right? And then let's assume that in your experiment section, right? In your experiment section, you want to say, we did a lot of work. Okay, so before the lorem ipsum, I am going to say, as shown in section, and I'm going to say, give me a reference to that, the label that I made. Section, our work is great. Don't worry about what I'm typing, but I just want to show you things, how we add the link. So now I compile it, and you can see it automatically puts that it is going to be section 3. Why? Because methodology is section 3. So let's add the fake section here. Section fake. which would make methodology the section 4. There you are. And when you go down and look at this, it gets updated. Again, let's comment this out. All right. Now, lists. You want lists. You want itemized list. You want numbered list. How to put this? So, let's ask Mr. Akila to add a list. Where would you like to add a list, Mr. Akila?
Maybe in the intro.
Okay, so let me scroll there so that you can see the. Yeah, let's put it at Akila. Do this, add the list under there so that the students can see. Okay. So let's see what type of a list Mr. Akila thinks to add. Okay, he's going to add a bulleted list. So let's jump there ourselves, see what is being created by Mr. Akila. All right, let me compile now. Okay, so here is the item list that he created. The bullets and all the rest of it, and the spacing and stuff are automatically decided from the from Latex. Now he is adding a numbered list, and he is, as you can see, the only difference is to say itemize versus enumerate. So now if I compile this, you would be able to see a numbered list. And the fun thing is these are nestable as well. So if I want to say begin, itemize, another type of, say, sub item 1, and we can say item sub item 2. Oh, bad spelling. There you are, sub item 2. And you can see now we can see sub items with a different type of itemizing. All right. So let's go to some of the slightly advanced stuff. Footnotes, quotations, and mathematical equations. We earlier we bragged that these are the best things here, right? So let's see how to do this. Now, I am going to add a footnote saying this is a nice item, right? And there you are. Let me put it on something else, because 1 and 1 it looks weird. Let's put it on item 2 so that it would be less jarring. There you are, item 1, and the footnote is added. This little line and all the rest of it is automatic. All right. Now, I would ask Mr. Akila to add a simple equation somewhere. Where would you like to add the simple equation, Mr. Akila?
Usually the methodology.
All right, that is, he's being very very true to how we write papers. Okay, let's go to methodology, and Mr. Akila, go ahead and add the equation. A simple simple division one would serve for now. Okay, sorry, I clicked on this. All right, there you are.
I may have a small. I will just
Small equation.
just to speed things up. I'll just paste it.
Yeah.
Methodology.
You are adding a inline equation in the methodology. So one thing is it is better to keep the label here, and
Yes.
let's render this and see how inline equations work. So as you can see, this equation, it is between text. So this is one way. If you want to add math within text, all you need to do is to have it between dollar marks. And as you can see, the formatting is different, right? Let me even show it to you. It is different from this. So when I compile, so you can see this has special formatting on spaces and readability to make it look more like a math equation rather than just typing it freestyle, right? Okay. So Mr. Akila, can you show, because in papers and so on, we would have these complex equations that can't go in line. How to put a non-inline equation?
Yeah. So we'll use the famous equation.
So we have E equals MC2, and you can see to the power of, you just give this notation, and Mr. Akila has added E equals MC2. And you can see the equation numbering has automatically appeared. So if you want to refer to it, you just want to put the same equation, same labeling as before. Let's say I call it equation EMC, and then if I want to talk about it in the text, because remember, scientific writing, you have to mention all of your text and all of your figures, all of your tables, all of the equations in text. You can say the equation is famous, and I am going to compile it. And now it says equation 1 is famous.
I will also add a very complicated looking
Yes,
one.
please,
Complicated
please go
looking,
ahead.
but
Yeah.
yes.
While he does that, I will add one more thing. So to show the power of the PDFs that are created in LaTeX. Now, as you can see, these are references. They are nice and all, but they are just text, right? What if we want to make our PDF dynamic? We want these things to actually link to these places. Then all you have to do is to add something that I mentioned to you earlier, hyperlink. So now when I add hyperlink, these things are now coded, where now once the PDF is created, we can click on these links and it will jump to where it is mentioned, and it happens with the footnotes as well. So all of those links were created just because I added this. Now you might be wondering, oh no, why are we having these ugly boxes and all? Don't worry, that is only for you to see. So once you create the PDF, they are not there, but the links still work, right? All right. So let's go and see what Mr. Akil has done meanwhile. He has gone and added some complex equations. So let's look at that. Let's compile. And there you are. So we will not go into deep details on how exactly these are, he typed these. But as you can see, even these very complex looking equations, you just need to say, okay, if it is a sum, what is the sum, from what to begin and from what to end. So I equals 1 to go to j. And if you want an integral, you just say integral. Greek letters, all of those, you just type it in and it gets beautifully rendered.
Probably much easier than doing this.
Very easier, because in Word, you will have to say where it is placed, get that empty box and type it there, and then put the, let's say, the matrix notation and so on and so forth. So That's a pain. All right. Let's move forward. Oh, here I have put some examples. I think what Mr. Akil has used as well, right? All right. We slightly talked about center, so we'll skip this because I showed you the centering. It will always be on the slides that you can look at it later on. Now, one more thing, the font size is relative. You saw this earlier when I was changing this as well. 11 pt, 12 pt, you can just change it there, and globally things change. And the font sizes, on the other hand, is set up in a with commands. So if for some reason you want to have larger text in the body, right? So this would be very careful if you are doing this. This would be basically going against what the template is saying, right? But in some cases, if you are going to demonstrate something, you might need this. Let's say I want to say something in a very big manner, huge letters. I would say bigly. And yes, I know that it is not a word, but apparently it is a word. Now you can see bigly over here in huge letters, and large, and it will get a little smaller. And the other thing I wanted to show is when you change the font size, the relative difference, the relativeness stays the same. So when everything becomes larger, still this becomes larger. So unlike in Word where you have to say, okay, this is that size, this is this size, what in LaTeX what you do is to declare something relative to the size of the body text. Then everything else is automatically done. So Mr. Akila, can you add a list of all the LaTeX sizes somewhere? Just get rid of stupid and have the list of sizes that we have in LaTeX. Meanwhile, let's talk about bibliography. Bibliography is a big deal. We need to add citations. We need to add. We need to cite things if we are writing a paper and so on and so forth, right? So how would we do this in LaTeX? In LaTeX, we do bibliography using various packages. So NatBib is not the only package to be used, but it is the one that I like the most. Me personally like the most because it is very customizable. So you can just import it, or also you can say you can pass certain parameters to it. So the reason that I am passing these parameters is that I am assuming that we are going to write a IEEE paper. Okay, so let's say use package and say NatBib, and I'm going to give the parameters, numbers, sort and compress, and also let's say square brackets, because that is how IEEE works. I hope that you guys know that. Okay. Right. We can also have a section with that, but that is okay. Okay. Now, this is just declaring how we want our citations to work. But where are the citations? Let's look at them. So in LaTeX, the way to add citations is to create a bib file. So let's call it references.bib. Oh, sorry, bib. Right? Now we would create references.bib. The next step, so the first step was to create, tell LaTeX, okay, I am going to cite stuff. Then this is from where I am going to cite stuff. And then you have to say, where do I need my citations to go? So let's go down. It should be, you should know that it should go before appendix. Hopefully you know this. Okay. Now let's add. We are going to add these references. So I want the bibliography to come here. And what is the name that I gave it? Is references. So given that I am a lazy person, what I am going to do is I am going to copy this, then file name, and going to put this here. There you are. Now we are going to say, okay, that is from where we are going to take our bib. And now the next question is, what type of references do we need? IEEE. So we say bib style, I want it as IEEE transactions with names. Okay, right. That all of those sound great, but where are the references? Okay, now let's move a bit from LaTeX and see how you would find a good reference, right? How you would find a reference to some paper that you have read. So since I am doing the lecture, I am going to refer to one of my own papers. I hope it is okay. So I am going to search for Sinhala NLP on Google Scholar and see I have this survey paper, right? So let's see how we are going to cite this. Once you have the paper that you want to cite, what you do is you click on this cite button on Google Scholar and say, give me bibtext. I will open it in a new tab. So there you will get this little block. You don't have to do anything, but just copy it. You copy it to your reference bib. Okay? And then you get this title that you have to, the title of the bib that you are going to refer elsewhere. Now, let's say I am going to go to my background and going to say the work by and say cite with name, cite in the text. Then you get the suggestions. I am going to say this is, I'm tooting my own horn, but there you are. So I'm going to say the work by so-and-so, which is me, is great. It's brilliant. So let's recompile and see what happens. There you are. As you can see, I never even bothered to type in the name of the person, the name of the person being me, right? So I just said, okay, cite this. And this part, the name comes automatically. Let's do it with a multiple author paper. Let's see how many. Let's have many.
I have added some references.
Oh, Mr. Akila is being very helpful and has added some references. Let's take this because this has multiple authors. Let's come here and say, so is the work by these guys. And I am going to compile. There. Now that there are multiple authors, the et al. Automatically comes. And you can see that these links are already available. Let's jump there and see what's up. Here they are. The references formatted in the IEEE format is already here. So the only thing that I did is copy paste them here. Mr. Akila has copy pasted that here, and then I referred to them in the body. And nicely formatted. As you can see, these inverted commas, these italics, all of them are automatically done. You don't have to bother about them ever again, right? So let's assume that I want to just move this around. I want to just move this to the top and this to the bottom. You know, in IEEE, it is the order of mention, right? So there, they flipped, no problem. And if you go back, you can see in here, they have here. And you can see Mr. Akila has gone ahead and, as I said, added the font sizes. Let's look at them here. So we can go from tiny script, footnote, small, normal size. Normal size is equal to here, and large and huge. So one person has sent a message asking to add, give another example, give an example of referencing again. So let's do this. We copy the header here. We go to the place that we want to cite. Let's come here and say, I recently read some papers. And so this time, let's cite it without the name. How to cite it without the name? We say cite, no T, just cite, and have it like this. So then, if we cite it that way, what do we get? Without the name, this. Now, let's say you want to cite multiple, you want to cite them multiple papers that you have read here. So I am going to add all 3 papers over here, saying I read some papers recently. Now, IEEE convention, what is the IEEE convention? If you have multiple papers, you shorten them. You would, Mr. Akila, did you? Yes. Okay, brilliant. So you shorten them to say 1 to 3 instead of saying 1, 2, 3, 4. You can do it that way as well. So how did that happen? That happened because I gave this command, sort and compress. Yes, the question is, if you have everything in Zotero, is it simply a matter of exporting it to BIP? Yes, you just export it to BIP and then you can start using it. That is a good question. All places, just like Google Scholar, Archive, will give you the opportunity to export to BIP. Okay. Right. So I have put some links here as well, and you can get them. Okay, so I have put some slides on how the things that I just did, copy pasting from Google Scholar over here, because there are some people I have been told by Dr. Nayani that not everybody comes here. They want to look at the slides as well. So I have put them so that you can go through the slides, even for the people who do not want to watch a video or who are not here, to just look at the slides as to how this is done step by step. So I'm going to jump over there. One more thing, 2 more things that you can do with citations is that if you want to cite something that is in the wild, if you want to immediately cite something from your browser, you can get these extensions. So you can search for something Google Scholar instead of opening it. So these are just subordinate things that I just added to help you in your journey. You can add these things and get the citations immediately as a extension if you like. And if you have something like a paper which was not there and you want to cite it and get the citation, you can add this big text from URL, which will create a bib text from any URL. So I'm not going to get into those because obviously it is tangential, but I added it so that your life would be easier when you are citing things. Like if you are citing a blog post, this is what you are going to use. You go to the blog post and use this extension to cite it. Okay. I have some examples of what we just did here as well. But for the people who are just looking at the slides, you guys have seen how it is done live. Okay, let's keep our promise, Mr. Akila, right? Let's look at floating bodies. Well, not the Lord of the Rings kind. The kind that we are using for images and text, images and tables, which was a question that we got earlier and we promised. So before we get there, the two important things that you have to learn is that, again, they are environments. You draw them, you put them inside figures and begin table and so on and so forth. And then you have to say where they are going to go. That is why the options are there. So the options are here. I want it immediately where I am mentioning it. Is it okay to put it on the top of the page? Remember, I told you very early how to put top of the page or bottom of the page. So you can order this in your order of preference. And then LaTeX will put these images as you like. So let's put an image in our bulging new document. Let's go here. So Mr. Akila has added a image folder. Now, Mr. Akila, can you go ahead and add the image as well? So what you can do is you can use a new file, upload, and so on and so forth to drag and drop a image file here. So instead of me doing all of that, I'll suggest Mr. Akil doing that so that you can see how this happens collaboratively. All right, Mr. Akil just added the LaTeX logo over there. So let's try to add the image, right? Now, how do we add an image? Let's add this image under recent developments. So in recent developments, I am going to add the image, add this image. So begin what? Begin figure. All right. Begin figure. And so you can see the block is automatically created. And what is the image I want? I want LaTeX logo to appear. So we'll draw this right now. We'll compile this right now and then do the editing later, right? Let's look at it first, how it's going to happen. So now I am getting these issues. Why? Because I did not add something. I did not tell my system that I am going to add images. Use package. I want graphics. All right. And here it is. Here's the image. Now we have the LaTeX image centered now. Let's give it a name. Let's call it the caption LaTeX logo. And also, let's say, give it a name. Now it is that. Now, if you want to refer this within your text, how do you do this? You do it the same way as you did before. For sections, what you are going to say is, this is this. So, in Fig, you can say ref and what. Okay, so let's run that with the same ref. And now you can say this is the LaTeX logo in Fig 1. There you are. And again, you will jump around to it if you like. Now, now as you can see, one thing is that I just willy-nilly placed it without even worrying about where it is going to go, right? What if I want to make sure that it is going to happen? So it should fall after this topic. So then I had to tell LaTeX, hey, you can't put them wherever you like. Put it in the best place. If it is not in the best place, try to put it here. Otherwise, try to put it on the top. Otherwise, put it on the bottom. So now let's give it the command, recompile. And now it is trying to put it on the at that place. And if it cannot be put there, it is going to put it on the top of the table. So the reason that it is trying to put it there is because we do not have text over there. Let's move this text over here so that the wall of text goes over there, and I will add another ellipsum to here. There. Now it is in here. And if you add like more text, you do not have to worry about it, and it would just move there without a issue. Okay, so that's a very quick look at figures, because we are quickly running out of time. Now let's look at how we create a table. Tables are created in the same way. Mr. Akila, can you create a table over here on line 64? All right. So as you can see, he just typed, just like when I was typing figure, he just typed table, begin table, and it just appeared. Now,
I've copy pasted some content as well.
yes, he copy pasted some content. Let's look at this. And okay, so I will have the HTB here. Let's first look at it and how nice it is, and then we'll talk about it. Okay, here's the table that Mr. Akila added. So what are these? This says this first column has to be left aligned. That is what it says, left aligned. The second column should be right aligned. The third column should be centered. And then we enter everything that is in each of the cells. If you need a line, you add this line. So if you need 2 lines, you can just say, give me another line here. And you might have seen these type of okay, I actually added it to the wrong place. Let me add here to make it look fancy. You might have seen this type of tables in papers like this, where the header is separated and so on and so forth. So that is all that you have to do. So everything that you have in a cell, you just put there, and they are separated by an and. Now, I understand you look at it and you are like, that looks hard. And that happens with most of the students. So if that happens, what you should do is, I have put a little link in our slides. As to a online table generator, right? Here is it, where I have created this these previously. Let me add lol here. It doesn't matter. So where you will edit it like a Excel sheet, and then just click generate, and it will generate the LaTeX table. I'm not going to copy paste this because it is a little messy. But for people who are starting out, that is something that they can use. Okay. We are almost at the end. So these are some technical things that I want to mention. Anything that is that has a beginning and an end is a environment. If you are looking at advanced guides online, you will see these being mentioned as environments, and a group is anything between curly brackets. So I just added these two slides so that you do not get scared if you are reading something else, reading other material, to say, okay, no, I wasn't taught this. So, right. Two things that to remember: don't forget to add your citations, the bibliography, and don't forget to close your document. And yes, as I said, there would be errors, and we got some errors as well, isn't it, Mr. Akila? So then we solved them. So that is how the. I wanted you to see those things, especially, and I knew that they would be happening. And the reason is that to make sure that you are not afraid to try it out and see errors and fix it and get to your result. Okay. Now, if you have errors, they will be reported in by Overleaf. Let's create a fake error somewhere while Mr. Akila makes our table nicer. Right. Let's create. I ruined this, and now it is going to be an error there. So here or here, you can look at it and see what is wrong. So in this case, there is no such thing as lal. All right. Now, so these are this was a very fast and very short introduction to the things that is happening in LaTeX, the things that you can do in LaTeX. You may want to look at things by yourself, things that I did not mention. Because of time problems, how to get the table to automatically adjust to your columns, right? To your paper size. How to add sub figures, because you have seen some figures with figure A, figure B, sub figures inside them. How to do that, right? Learn by yourself. Just Google it and you can find it out. How to create your own environment if you had to add more. So many more things that you can do with LaTeX, as in. It would take several lectures like this if I am to do that, but it would be very easy. I will actually provide you some with YouTube links of this introduction to LaTeX lecture series as well to the library, so that you can watch those videos as well and have a better understanding. So right now you followed this, so you have the basics, and then you can learn the advanced things from them. The next thing that I want to very quickly mention, is that there is an official UOM template which is on the library website. So you go to the library, you go to user guides, and here there is the LaTeX template. And in this, so here you will get to this, and all you have to do is edit this to make sure that your dissertation, your thesis is in the correct format. And also this document gives you instructions on how you should adhere to various conventions, some tips on how to use LaTeX in itself as well, how to use headings, the things that I discussed today, how to add figures. So this document itself teaches you how to use LaTeX. And remember these things, Google Scholar how to get Google Scholar citations, those are also mentioned there. So even if you did not listen to any of the things that I mentioned today, if you just go to the library website and read this document by yourself, you would be able to learn most of the things that we discussed today, right? How to use footnotes, abbreviations that we talked about today. All righty. And so I have put those slides here as well. I have added some resources here for people who do not have an Overleaf account to create an Overleaf account, some samples from today to read. And finally, we have come full circle. So LaTeX, remember the previous pronunciation, LaTeX is still what superheroes use, but now hopefully it is you, right? And we have the references here, and thank you very much for coming to this talk. And I think library is going to put this online as well, and we will provide you with the PDF for the slides as well as a recording.
Thank you very much for the rich and valuable content. The student posed many questions to the chat line, and you answered those during your presentation as well. Thanks for the nice discussion, nice presentation. So the way you presented, we learned a lot. I also thought of starting with LaTeX. So Daphne's answer actually, so the next years we'll upload all the recordings and the other materials to Moodle and the Bolgoda Plains YouTube as well. Bolgoda Plains YouTube channel. So the students, you can watch this video again and you can use this material later. So then may I know whether our participants have any special points clarification? Okay, we are running out of time. We have to bring our session to a close. In conclusion, it is incumbent upon me to express our sincere gratitude and appreciation to our panelists for their valuable contribution. So, I also would like to thank all participants for their enthusiasm in this space. Dean sir, thank you so much for your continuous encouragement playing a big role in motivating us. So, our next research launch will be held on 6th December in Research Week with Professor Mettika Vithanage and her team. So, dear participants, dear researchers, reserve your date. We'll meet in our next research launch. Goodbye.